Hello and welcome to the news at 7 on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Habiba Oladipo. We begin with a look at the headlines. FCC High Court convicts and sentenced Maryam Sanda to death by hanging for the willful murder of her husband. 2020 International Customs Day, Nigerian Customs Service says the status quo in the partial border closure remains. And sports enthusiasts pay glowing tribute to American basketball legend, late Kobe Bryant. And we begin with the judiciary, where the FCT High Court sitting in Maitama has convicted and sentenced Maryam Sanda to death by hanging for the willful murder of her husband, Biliaminu Bello Haliru, in the course of a domestic disagreement. Justice Haliru Yusuf held that Maryam Sanda allowed anger to cloud her judgment. Olabode Arewa reports.
Tracing the circumstances that led to the conviction of the defendant, the court held that Maryam Sanda's submission that Biliaminu tripped and fell on a broken bottle was an afterthought, since the defendant and two prosecution witnesses have admitted that she had a knife in her hand during an argument with her late husband Biliaminu on the 18th to the 19th of November 2017. The court also held that circumstantial evidence had linked Maryam to the crime, since she was the last person that saw the disease before he got injured and died. Justice Haliru Yusuf accordingly sentenced her to death by hanging.
We thank God that the long arm of the law have actually caught up with the offender. But the truth of the matter is that the law has nothing to do with sentiments.
The convict and her late husband engaged in a domestic fight lasting 2 days over what the convict described as the alleged sighting of a nude female picture on her husband's assets. In NTA News.
In the meantime, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to the former senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, in the sum of 10 million naira. The presiding judge, Justice Iyang Ekwo, granted bail to the defendant after his arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on 2-count charge of bribery and advance fraud. Menka Amaraku reports.
The defendant, Shehu Sani, pleaded not guilty to the 2-count charge preferred against him. Counsel to the defendant, Abdul Ibrahim, SAN, in an oral application, pleaded with the court to grant Shehu Sani bail. Counsel to the FCC, Abba Muhammad, opposed the bail application. In a ruling, the presiding judge, Justice Iyang Ekwo, dismissed EFCC opposition to Sani's bail application, since it's a description of the court and the offense is a bailable offense. Justice Ekwo ordered the defendant to produce a surety with a landed asset worth 10 million naira. The defendant equally expected to deposit his passport with the court registry, as well as seeking express permission of the court for any trip outside the country. The case has been adjourned to February 24th, 25th, and 26th. In Abuja, Umar Marchuku, NTA News.
And staying with legal matters, a Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Gwagwalada has fixed Thursday, the 30th of January, to give ruling on the bail application filed by the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, SAN, and 2 others. Adoke standing trial for alleged money laundering alongside 6 others, which include 4 companies on their alleged involvement in the MALABU oil bill. Counsel to Adoke and 2 other defendants argued that the alleged offense is bailable, and the first defendant, the former Minister of Justice, has medical issue. Counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission objected to the bail application on the grounds that there is high possibility for the defendant to jump bail if granted.
Exhibited documents, as you're all aware, he was arrested by Interpol and escorted back to the country. And I wouldn't want to go into the details of my argument in court. The court has not given its ruling yet, and it will be unethical for me. The arguments are advanced before the court, before a ruling is made on it, to re-advance it outside the court. It would be very unethical.
We told the court, through a summary at the end of the day, that bail is a constitutional right because of the presumption of innocence of an accused person. And that at the end of the day, it is a matter that is entirely within the discretion of the court.
And staying with legal matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has reserved ruling in the bail variation application of the former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Force, Abdulrasheed Maina, till Tuesday, 28 January 2020. Justin Okonaban gave the ruling in the continuation of the trial of the defendant alleged complicity in 2 billion naira pension scam. Meanwhile, at the resumed trial, the cross-examination of the defendant, brother Khalid Aliyu Biu, standing as witness, continued. Kelvin Ebuwande reports that he testified on how some bank accounts lead to the alleged crime opened while he served as a relationship manager in a new generation bank. The case has been adjourned to Tuesday, January 28, 2020 for continuation. And away from legal matters, Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State has urged the federal government to, as a matter of necessity, support the realization of the Bakassi deep sea port and superhighway project initiated by his administration. Governor Ayade was granted audience by President Muhammad Buhari, described his signature project as the best way forward for Nigeria towards achieving the desired economic prosperity.
The Bakassi deep sea port, with an evacuation corridor to northern Nigeria, is the strategic way forward for this country. The major deposits outside of hydrocarbon in this country is in northern Nigeria. The northern Nigeria has the largest deposit of rare earth and essential metals. And the only way the northern part of Nigeria can have a full benefit of God-given wealth in terms of solid mineral deposit is only when you have an access or have a keys of the Atlantic Ocean. Coming into life, the Bakassi deep sea port with an evacuation corridor to north is like taking the Atlantic Ocean to northern Nigeria. It's a strategic way of putting an end to the insurgency, militancy, kidnapping, and the Boko Haram issues. The superhighway and the deep sea port is very critical. Those projects are not projects on the shoulders of the governor of Cross River State. It's a responsibility of the federal government. And that's why I'm here.
Cross River State used the opportunity to formally invite President Muhammad Buhari to Calabar for the inauguration of a massive youth empowerment scheme through a
we have made other
G-money.
Tractors, bulldozers, payloaders, excavators, the list is endless. So we are going to create jobs for over 2,000 young people who will have at least 5 hectares of farmland for rice. Mr. President will flag off the G-money program, which is a green economy focusing on agriculture as a way forward. So the President has a very clear understanding, and I'm very happy of his kind words and commendation on my special and outstanding achievements in the process of achieving an agriculturally self-sustaining country.
Over to health matters, the federal government is to take actions against owners of public and private premises serving as homes for rodents. Minister of Environment Mahmoud Abubakar stated this in Abuja as part of measures to curb the increasing cases of LASSA fever in the country. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Lesser attention to the environment, LASSA fever for the health. A killer disease, and rodents are the major culprits, while poor sanitation provides operational base. LASSA fever is leapfrogging other diseases at the moment. As of the 5th of January 2020, 195 cases have been confirmed and 29 deaths recorded across 11 states. Traffic, a common sight in the marketplace. Food items sometimes from hand to mouth in an environment clearly providing habitation for rats.
Yes, always we are using some medicine to kill the rat and others, and we are cover our things well.
Rat in the market, we call it heavy infestation. both the day and night. They are active, that you must manage your food item very well. Those ones you are, especially gari, that they should minimize all those chewing and drinking of gari at this season. How to wash hands before they serve the people.
Please be seated.
The Federal Ministry of Environment is fronting a solidarity with the states and local governments for rodent-free homes and marketplaces through the engagement of environmental health professionals.
The sanitation desks are to be replicated in all the 774 local governments in the country. Environmental health surveillance of premises to identify rodent harborage, destroy, eradicate rodent homes, commercial and industrial premises.
So, the presence of these officers are expected to be a common sight in homes and private places if the minister's objective is to go beyond this conference hall. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Customs Service has reiterated that the status quo in the partial border closure in the country remains. At an event to mark the 2020 International Customs Day, Comptroller General Hameed Ali, who made a remark, highlighted a series of activities that shaped its operations in the previous year. Ayade reports.
For almost 7 decades, the World Customs Day has been an annual event which aids customs services globally to fine-tune operations. In Nigeria, the 2020 edition is coming at a time the issue of the partial border closure, codenamed Swift Response, is generating a lot of discourse. The Customs, however, says the action has improved its operations, enabling it to exceed its 2019 target by 404 billion naira. Ifoma Adoke, an off-dock terminal operator, is pleased with the reforms and policies of the service, principally the partial border closure.
The border closure, of course, affected our businesses positively, in the sense that prior to that, we found out that most terminals, even the port, is like underutilized, maybe just about 50% utilized. But during this period of the border closure, you now see that activities beam up, and all the terminals, both off docks and the mother ports, everywhere was congestion everywhere.
If you are working in an automated system, there's room, little or none is given to error. So I think so far they have done very well.
To the service, its activities go beyond generating for the country to the provisions of better service to the society, especially in achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
We will relax certain things at the border. For now, we are still conducting our partial border closure under the drill. When we get responsive adherence from our own neighbors, we will see how we can work together.
The focus for this year's International Customs Day is customs fostering sustainability for people, prosperity, and planet. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. Stay tuned for more news after this break.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
And many thanks for being there. The National Assembly has rolled out its legislative agenda for 2020 as it resumes plenary this week. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that review of some section of the Constitution, economy and security topped the agenda.
The passage of the 2020 budget of the FCT was the last legislative business by the Senate in 2009. 39 days after the Christmas and New Year break, the senators are ready to go back to the chamber on Tuesday.
To work together with the executive arm of government, actually to work together with the other tiers of government, the states and even the local governments, to ensure that we change the way we approach the security issues in this country.
The Senate will also commence the process of constitution amendments in consideration of the Petroleum Industry Bill.
We are also not oblivious of the need and necessity, really, to ensure that we amend the Electoral Act. Implementation of the 2020 budget is going to occupy our time in oversight functions. The PIB has defied passage We want to break that jinx.
Because that's been lingering. I can assure you that this night Senate, we are going to pay attention to this and it will see the light of today.
There were some presidential appointments during the recess, and the Senate is also expected to attend to them. And from the Green Chambers, House members are also set to resume plenary this week with a resolve to consolidate on achievements of 2009, during which the 9th House passed 20 bills, while more than 600 are at various stages of legislation.
Issues that are not within the contemplation of the original drafters of the Constitution that have now reared their heads and begging for our attention for amendment.
The economy, issues on security, issues on job creation, issues on constitutional review.
There is a real cohesion and understanding between the legislature and the executive, and the understanding is there, it's very superb. So we are going to work very cordial, very united to make sure Nigeria really see the next level they're voting for.
Plenary will, however, not hold Tuesday in line with tradition, as the legislature mourns the late Adamu Fagengao of Jigawa State, who died in December. In the meantime, the House ad hoc committee investigating the alleged non-remittance of 1 trillion naira unspent budgeted funds continued hearing, with more agencies appearing to provide explanation on capital and zonal intervention projects from 2009 to 2019. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Yahya Bello of the All Progressives Congress has been sworn in for the second term as the executive governor of Kogi State. The governor thanked the people of Kogi State for the opportunity given to him to lead again and commended the leadership of the All Progressives Congress for the unalloyed support given to him in the past 4 years and during the last elections in particular. He attributed his success in office in the first term to cordial relations with the legislature, the judiciary, the traditional rulers and the civil society. The governor pledged to improve on his achievements in the past 4 years, integrating the diverse people of the state, using resources of the state to stimulate economic growth, as well as confronting security challenges in some parts of the state.
The rich human and natural diversities of Kogi State into a progressive and cohesive force for good is the main achievement of the first term and will remain a priority for the second term. We shall not relent in weaving equity and equality into the fabrics of our society and strengthening the basis for our coexistence.
And security matters, the Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed an Islamic State of West African province, ISWAP, staging area at Gashiga and terrorist hideout at Tumburego on the fringes of Lake Chad and at Bula Bello near Sambisa Forest, all in Maiduguri, Borno State.
In a statement by NAF Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola said this was achieved in airstrikes conducted by the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole after credible intelligence reports. The attack on Gashiga was executed on 25th January 2020 after intelligence and surveillance missions indicated that the location with defensive parapets and underground tunnels was being used by the ISWAP elements as the meeting point and staging area for launching attacks. Consequently, the Air Task Force detailed its fighter aircraft to attack the identified location, destroying the structures, killing several terrorists in the process. Similarly, fighter jets were dispatched to attack Tombong Rego and Bula Bello on 24th January 2020 after ISR aircraft detected the significant activities in the 2 settlements, neutralizing scores of terrorists in the 3 attacks, including some of their key leaders, as later confirmed by human intelligence reports. The NAF says it will sustain its air campaign in synergy with ground forces to defeat terrorists.
And for news from other parts of the globe, let's join Joyce Ometu.
Many thanks for joining me on this segment. About 7 million people in Ethiopia are in need of humanitarian aid, including emergency food assistance. The figures are from the National Disaster Risk Management Commission, which said the country is in need of over $1 billion in humanitarian aid. Ethiopia has been facing a recurrent drought which is affecting the country's economy and lives of the people. Meanwhile, the Gambia has banned a movement opposed to President Adama Barrow's decision to renege on a promise to call elections this year. President Barrow came into power in 2017 as the head of an alliance of parties opposed to the autocratic former leader Yahya Jammeh. Thousands of Gambians under the banner of the movement called 3 Years Jotna has been holding protests against the president's continued stay in power as tension continues to build in the West African country. The government on Sunday banned the movement, which is described as subversive, violent, and illegal. And the number of people killed in China by coronavirus has risen to about 81, with almost 3,000 confirmed ill. The National New Year holiday has been extended by 3 days to contain the spread. The number of deaths in Hubei province has also climbed. Wuhan is in lockdown, and several other cities have imposed travel bans. That's it from here. Thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
Many thanks, Joyce. President Muhammad Buhari has congratulated His Royal Majesty Alhaji Dr. Ahmed Abdullahi Hassan Serki Yagajin Uke Kingdom of Nasarawa State on his 20th anniversary on the throne. The President, in a statement by his Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, salutes the commitment and diligence with which the Royal Father has served his people, leading to progress and peace in his kingdom, and wishes him many more years of productive service to his people. President Buhari urged him to use the period to envision new heights for his kingdom and the people for further development. And that is news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Habiba Oladipo. Bye for now.